Hello. Brother. So, here I am. And I wanted to do this as a live, but YouTube's being a dick. Says, oh, the channel doesn't meet our eligibility for mobile streaming or whatever the fuck. So, whatever, I'm shooting this and then uploading it. Hopefully, it's my real first test with the new iPhone because it's the 14 Pro and I'm shooting in 4K 60. So, we'll see how this goes because this is going to be a long one. And you can tell my voice, I'm not feeling that well. I'm supposed to go to Long Island today, but fuck it. At least I got the shirt. But anyway, we're going to be working on the Dreamcast. And let me make sure that this is still in focus. I might have to move this a little more. But yeah, this is the Dreamcast. And we're going to custom build this from scratch. And I got a bunch of parts to do it with. The idea is to build my Dreamcast. So I'm going to be basically doing everything today but soldering work. And the idea is to build this up, to send it into One-Up Restorations and have them do all the soldering. The controller mod for the fuse, the watch battery, also recap everything, including the power supply. Originally, I was going to put a Pico PSU in here, but in getting estimates for the rest, for the work to be done, a few of them basically told me, look, if your power supply is working, you don't need it, just get it recapped. So that's what I'm going to do. And in this package, I got the DCDigital ready to be installed. So I'll be doing that in a couple weeks. But first things first is to take this apart. And this is a stock Dreamcast unit. Nothing's been done to it. And it is also the V1. And it's kind of a little dingy. It's starting to yellow a little bit. But the only thing we're going to wind up probably taking from here, if we take anything from here, is the controller, is this thing. So let's get to work, shall we? So I don't know how this is. I'm going to keep checking the phone to make sure everything's okay. So if you see my finger, don't mind me. Because sometimes the phone does run hot. I used to work on these things all the time when I was a teenager. First got to take we'll get to this later because we've got to take this apart to do the shell. So right now we're just going to strip the Dreamcast to its complete bare. So if you're into stripping, this is a perfect video for you. And I got, of course, I have an ice cube tray. And the reason for an old ice cube tray is to keep your screws organized. And on the Dreamcast, there's 4 screws. Let's open it up. So let's do that. I used to actually earn money under the table from EB Games. Back when Dreamcasts were like $30 a piece. I used to buy up like, by the way, you're going to hear coughs and sniffle noses throughout this stream, so I'm sorry in advance. But anyway, when I was a teenager in EB Games, I would buy like maybe 6 or 7 Dreamcasts at a time. And I would you basically Frankenstein them together, get a few working ones, because almost always there was an issue with at least one issue with every system. Like one would have like a shitty disk drive, or one would have the controller port issue. Because the reason why that happens is because the Dreamcast controller port is powered to be able to send stuff to the VMU. So, of course, there's 4 screws right there. So, by the way, I always try to keep the top one separate, even though it's the same size, because I know at least, okay, that's the top one. Actually, I'm going to show it off real quick. So, take the lid off, and there's nothing there. Although I think we're going to have to reuse some of that stuff. I'm not sure yet. I got to see how this shell is. So everything is stock, by the way. See this fuse? This blows, literally. Like if you try to put in controllers, when they even explicitly tell you in the Dreamcast booklets for the games, the hardware booklet, do not put controllers in or take them out while the system's on. There's a good reason for that, because the controllers are actually getting power from this board because of the VMU. So what happens is you cut that connection premature, it shorts out the fuse. So one of the mods I'm actually getting is going to be a resettable fuse. So if God forbid that does happen, because look, let's be honest, I always forget to. So it's going to reset itself, so you won't have the problem where your controller doesn't work anymore. As of this recording, it's Friday the 13th, January of 2023. I know Laser Bear is supposed to come out with a blue retro adapter for this, where it replaces the controller board. Hopefully it'll have none of that issue anymore, as well as a changeable battery. But for now, I'm just going to get it done. And when it comes out, it comes out. So there's your power supply. There's your disk drive. We're going to replace that completely. And your controller board, the watch battery. So this and this, oh, I really shouldn't be touching that. This and this are going to be replaced. I don't know if the camera's getting that, but whatever. This and this. That's going to be replaced when I send it into 1UP. As well as the DCDigital is going to be installed. So he's going to have to strip this again. But for shipping purposes and for purposes of having him be able to test everything. Because I don't want it to be where he installs it. Well, first of all, I got to put it in an aftermarket case because they got to cut a hole in there for the HDMI port. But I don't want it to be where I send it in stock with the new case. First of all, this is dirty, so I got to obviously take a compressed air to it. But the thing is I want everything to be in here. So this way, when he's testing everything, buttoning everything up, he can make sure that everything's working to the point where I have it built up. So with the mode in there, with the knock to a fan, everything. So I'm just going to grab some compressed air real quick. I can't believe I forgot. I should have grabbed it. Okay. Give a quick wipe down as this. I'm going to be doing this several times as I'm stripping the board down. I'll be taking my time with this one. First, I'm going to remove the power supply. And of course, you got to be careful with this one. There's 2 screws here. There's one right here, one back there. Just going to loosen it a little bit and use these bad boys to take out the screws, because I don't want to try to touch anything on the power supply if I can help it. Checking my ice cube tray. Yeah, without the modem, this thing is very top heavy. And then we're going to take out the power supply. I'm going to try to grab it by the sides, pulling up. Wait a minute. Right, there's no more screws, so this should be easy to pull out. There we go. There we go, because the plug is being an ass. All right, there's the power supply. Put that under here, put that to the side. And always remember about this piece too. Probably gonna wash that rinse that off later. So then this has got to come out your power supply cord. And that goes there. It's not really like learning so much as in you're just watching me mod stuff. There's people actually do like to watch these things put together. There's our power cord. I'll put that over there. And the disk drive, I think, is next. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Plus, also, it's good to have the tweezers because there's places it's hard to reach. So it's good to have the tweezers like that to be able to grab it. And also help guide the screw out. This should be the last one. Haven't worked on a Dreamcast in a couple of years. I guess it's like riding a bike, you never truly forget. There we go. There's your GD-ROM. By the way, this GD-ROM actually works. So I might try to see if somebody wants it for parts. Okay, now next is the Noctua fan. Well, not the regular fan, not Noctua. That comes later. Come on. Come on. There we go. Keep referring to my ice cube tray to see where the screws go next. Because I don't want to mix up the screws. Okay, that's the fan. And we're just gonna be careful when jerking on the wires. So we're not gonna need this because we're replacing the fan completely. Now is this board. Remove it from the motherboard. I don't like to remove it from the controller part because it's hard to put back in, like the orientation and everything. Sometimes it's hard to put back in. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the last, oh, no, second to last on my ice cube tray. I'll use this. There we go. Okay, that's one controller port. Just gotta be careful not to strip the screws because, especially for something like this, you know, we're 20 years old, never been really opened up or touched. Sometimes it's sticky when it's got to come out. Oh boy. There we go. Trying to take out the screws. This way the screws don't get lost. Never knew about this cover. I don't remember seeing this cover before. Unless this is some sort of grounding they put in. this part. Some compressed air to the controller port. I'm not going to worry about like IPA or anything because I figure the guy's probably going to do that when he puts everything together. So there's the controller ports. Now for the motherboard. There's a whole shitload of screws for that. Leave it to me, it's tenant to clean the house at fucking 11:30 at night on a Friday night. Sure know what all that noise is in the background. By the way, I'm going to test it after I put everything together. So I'll make sure it's working before it leaves here. Stripping this thing bare. Come on. This thing really works, especially for like these back parts where it's a pain in the ass to get the screw out. I gotta see how the RF shielding is. Because sometimes it'll come out on its own. Like now. Oh. Pads are still somewhat intact. So that's good. I need these. And that's the shell right there. So these pieces we're definitely gonna need. I'm not gonna worry about this, like taking this off because, I'm not really gonna touch the board itself. So I'm gonna let the soldering person do that. I will just get a quick careful on it. Some of this dust I'm gonna have to, instead of spraying down, I'm just gonna, because I don't like to put steel under the water for obvious reasons, so I'm gonna probably just gonna put it on top of this box over there. I'm probably just gonna wipe it down with paper towel. See if I have any IPA. First, I'm gonna take this over to the. How do I explain it? I'm gonna take the controller port over to the water, and then I'm gonna have it cleaned. So I plan on reusing the controller ports. I have to find my sponge. I have a specific sponge I use for cleaning these kind of things. I'll also take toothbrush. I know you can't see the sink, but whatever. Sometimes I lose my train of thought, so you gotta forgive me. We'll scrub it good. Especially since I plan on integrating this into the new case. All right. I'm going to try to dry it off. Paper towel, and then dry the rest off with the compressed air. Help get the water out of the crevices. Let me do it off camera. Dry it off a little more. Anything I can do to help speed up the drying process, I'm going to do. You can see it's nice and clean now. Just gotta let it dry off, but that should be fine. Until we, excuse me. Yeah, don't get sick. Anyway, gotta try to find. I'm probably gonna take some Windex to the steel there. Okay. Just gonna. Oops. Almost fell, so I'll just. Put them there. You still got to use the steel. Because that's your, it's your, not only your protection really, but heat sink. I know there's also cuts that have to be made, but again, I'll let the installer do that. They know better than I. and fan it around. See, a majority of the dust that was on here is gone. I mean, you see some remnants of it, but that's about it. It's more like aging. All right, so I put the pads back on. These are still sticky, so that's good. Why Sega chose pads like this, I will never know. So I'm gonna put that aside. Also want to take Windex to this thing too. Where the power supply goes on. Just want to get the dust off of there. It's a surface cleaner, so should be good for our purposes. You really don't want to wet this too much either. All right, that looks good. Sorry about that. Keep our controller port over there. All right. So now it's time for the case. But with the modem, I'm going to do in a little bit. So this is the case that I got. It's a smoke black one. I wanted to originally get the Code Veronica one, but there was a bunch of problems getting it. Mainly is the fact that they really don't make it anymore. And it's like special order and all that bullshit. So I was like, you know what? My second choice was smoke black, so I'll just do that. And here it is. Smoke black Dreamcast. I'm gonna take the modem part off of here because we'll get to that later. The only thing is that this came off a little bit, but that's fine. First thing I gotta do is put the decal on. I got these from Stone Age Gamer, like $5 a piece. Yet you sent me 2, so thank you for that. And it fits almost perfectly. Because I wanted to make like a smoke black version of their sports one. Okay, so I don't need anything from the top. The only thing I'm going to need to do is replace this, and I'm going to do that when I do the Noctua fan. All right, so this is going to go on the bottom. Where's the controller ports? Make sure they're nice and dry. Excuse me. Because instead of using this, I'm going to use this for more of like an official Sega look. My phone's warm a little bit, but not so bad. Just want to make sure we're still recording. Yep, all right. And it came off like an unreliable Android phone. Anything's possible. Was this even compatible? Yep, I got it. Cool. All right. So that's in. Let's set this down. I don't think it's all the way down though. There it is. Because it's got to match up with these posts, and also this grounding has got to be down. All right, so time to put this back. Oh wait, it's got to go this way. That's right, because the ports have to come in first to fit correctly. This is always the part you got to take your time with if you can. Something's not right. So is the hardest part is fitting in the board, because this thing loves to come up. This thing loves to come up. The backing plate. I don't understand why Sega designed it like this. Always baffles me. Shit. Well, I guess this came off after all. Pads are still on, so that's good. I guess I might as well dust off the board while I'm here. I didn't expect to lift up the top cover, but we're here, so I might as well. I guess I'll just do it in pieces. That's down. That's where it needs to be. Seems like it's leaning towards the left a little bit. I don't know why. The modem port is what's being the trouble. Because it's not sitting flush. Like, something is not making this board sit flush. I don't know what the hell it is, but something's not making it sit flush. Wait, I think I got it now. Did I? It's not really bouncing anymore. I think I got it. Yeah, I think I got it. And now this. That shouldn't be too much trouble. There we go. It's very anticlimactic. All right. And I guess we'll start populating everything again. I guess these 2 screws are for the modem, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't know where these 2 smaller screws would be for when I got all the original screws right here. Okay. By the way, this plier, it's yeah, I can barely speak tonight. The tweezers are also good for putting screws back, especially if they're curved like that. And now the screw's being difficult. Oh, because I'm putting it in a place that doesn't have a screw. Lovely. That's why it's always best to take your time with these things and not rush it. And also with these aftermarket cases, it's also a good idea to give a little more force than you're used to. Because sometimes they're not completely threaded. By the way, speaking of threads, that's literally like the scariest fucking movie I've ever seen. I think Blumhouse put up about it. You know, like, oh, what's the scariest movie you ever seen? And I'm a horror buff. Surprise, surprise. And I've pretty much seen everything under the sun. You know, I've seen all the really nasty fucking movies. Like, I can't stand Saw. Excuse me. I can't stand Saw. I've seen like the first one, maybe the second one too. Like Hostel. And I'm like, nah, this ain't for me. There's a scene in Hostel, I think it was the second one I seen, I've never seen the first, where that actress from the Princess Diaries, Heather Matarazzo, I think her name was, and where she gets like literally hung upside down and gutted, and I'm like, nah, this kind of movie ain't for me. I survived Cannibal Holocaust twice. Once was enough for me, but then when Joe Bob decided to do it, and he was showing the uncut version, because the version that I sat through the first time was cut, and I later realized why they were cut. They were cut because it was legitimate animal abuse. Like when that turtle dies in Cannibal Holocaust, they really killed that turtle. And that's something that stuck with me, especially the closing scene. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, so I survived Cannibal Holocaust. I survived Cannibal Pharaoh, or Pharaoh, or however you pronounce that movie. But the scariest movie I ever seen was a TV movie, which basically was about nuclear war. Especially, I want to make sure that I didn't overthread anything. Nope. Okay. So it was a year. Let me make sure I'm still in focus. Which I should move the camera up a little more. There we go. So you see my stomach, big fucking deal. Anyway, like literally, it was the scariest fucking movie, and especially since I watched it the Halloween before the pandemic. So that was another fucking great thing. Okay, now I gotta get the controller ports back in. I think I got it. Okay. And it's if you've never seen Threads, and if you really want to see it, I gotta warn you in advance, it's really bad. It's more like, it's not like too graphic. Like, it's not like a fucking Saw or Friday the 13th, but it's real. It literally is a movie about what legitimately would happen after a nuclear bomb went off. Like, after, like, a nuclear holocaust. You know, like Armageddon. It's not one of those Christian movies that, you know, that do that crap. It's legitimate. It's scary as hell. I got done watching the movie. I was literally sitting there in my room. Like, I didn't put on anything. I just took everything in for like at least like an hour or so. Mainly because I couldn't believe what I seen. And even like when things were quiet, I would think of that movie. And it was like that for at least a few weeks. I still thought of that movie for like 6 months afterwards. And then the pandemic struck. And we were locked in our homes. And all of a sudden, Threads became real life. Not with all the mutations and stuff as later generations, but of people being selfish, people fending for themselves, people acting weird. I mean, it fucked with me. Like, really badly. There's the controller ports are in. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to open the Laser Bear package, because there is a Noctua fan mod in here that we're going to use. So yeah, if you do plan on taking my advice and watching that movie, prepare yourself. Like, I'm not even joking. Okay, this is the Noctua fan stuff. That's what we need right now. The other stuff can wait. That's for later. Alrighty. Colby. Or rather, I should pick a player that didn't rape somebody. Jordan! Yeah, at least, not that I know of anyway. So anyway, just a word of warning, if you do decide to watch that movie, just know what you're in for. That's all I'm going to tell you. Know what you're in for. Okay, this is the on the top of the case. I got to do that later. Right now we just need this, which is the which is going to be the adapter. It's got two different adapters. They look the same. Also, I guess you include two adapters by accident. I don't know. But anyway, know what you're in for. Why do I keep getting interrupted? The worst part about being sick, especially with a sinus infection, is when it stays in your nose Like, you know it wants to come out, but it's not coming out. But anyway, like I said, know what you're going into, because it's going to terrify you. Especially post-pandemic. Because then you're going to look back on it and go, holy shit. Because when I watched it, it was even scarier because it's like, I can't possibly conceive this happening. But then the pandemic came and it's like, oh, here we are. Okay. So this is the nut to a fan. And Laser Bear sells it in bulk packaging. And I'm trying to figure out, like, going by the blade. Gotta dry fit it real quick. Because it hooks up to the Dreamcast. The regular fan hooks up to the Dreamcast like this. So that would mean the blades are pointing out that way. So they gotta look at the orientation of the blades. So that means the knock to a fan is pointed out that way. So when we're putting the screw in, I guess we have to do it like this. I've done one of these before. It's the pain in the ass is putting the screw in. And not messing up the 3D print. And I actually got it on one try. Unbelievable. All right, that's for the fan. It's better to do the wire while I'm where the fuck did it go? There it is. Okay. Okay. And put the wire in here. Ta-da. Okay. All right. If I could find my 2 screws, that'd be great. Because I can barely see because it's a black shell and it's a black print. Okay. Ah, of course. Come on. Oh, shit. Yeah, you know what? Fuck you. You know what I'm gonna do? Just say fucking just put the screws in. It's probably gonna be a bad idea, but whatever. It'll at least be easier. This is the worst part. Try to let me try to take the screw out first, then put in the fan. because this bracket's being a dick. So that's, I guess that's how the way I'm going to play it. Bracket's being a fucking asshole. I don't know. That's the trouble with customizing sometimes. Gotta like force your way in. Excuse me. Now you gotta fit the fan here. Put the screw back, and now the fan is done. Nice and secure. I guess I'll figure out where to put that later. Alrighty. So I guess what is next is the CD drive. Because I'm going by the screws. Those are for the case. I'm trying to figure something out. Hold on a second. Because there's 2 screws that are unaccounted for. That's back a ways. Not like, I did it right so far. There's 3 screws, that's for the CD drive. There's 2 screws, that should be for the power supply, but there's another 2 screws. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck they came from. I guess we'll figure that out when it comes time for that. Alright. Oh, for the power switch. Okay, good. Now I know where I'm at. So, it's time for another Laser Bear product. Make sure I'm still in focus. Yep, okay. And that the phone isn't burning up. My phone's doing pretty good. It's warm, but it's not like burning. This is the Laser Bear. And it includes screws. Let's see if I can make this again. Jordan. Alright, got it right that time. Alright, so what this is instead of mounting the mode to those stupid things, and I'll show you what they are. Because I actually have the mode. Oh, that's right. I wanted to use a clone GDEMU, but for the purposes of DCDigital, I said fuck it, it's just got mode. I'm not happy about it, but anyway. Instead of using these putrid fucking things, we're going to be using this professional thing. And what that does is it's not only a mount for the hard drive for the board would go here with the hard drive, but also you could just slot an SD slot in there and hook up to your mode. And it looks like a replacement for your disk drive. Now we're going to take this apart. And the way to do that is by removing these screws, because he has it fully assembled. But to put the mode board in, and also be careful because the 3D print's a little weak. And also keep that in mind when you're screwing it back in too. So we're going to unscrew this. Try to keep as much on camera as I can, but there's going to be times where I just can't. hand's already killing me doing this shit. Come on. That's a long one. This is a long screw there. I think the reason why it's difficult is there's 3 long screws, I think. 1 short screw. By the way, that's another reason why I went with the mode over the clone GDMU. Is because I want this to be a Dreamcast where I never have to touch it again. Obviously, with the Laser Bear controller coming out, I'm still gonna have to do that, but for intents and purposes, I don't want it to be where I'm constantly having to remove games off of an SD card, because I gotta be careful with that one, because it also has the hold on a second. I'm gonna try to unscrew it by flipping this around, because I don't want to break it. I don't want to fuck up the threads and all that stuff. But I got like all the, the redump supplement. I pretty much based it off the US because that's where I live. So I took the US library. Well, I took the Dreamcast redumps. I cut everything out that's Japanese and European, except for the ones that never got released in the US. So, like, for example, if there's, like, say, a Sonic Adventure from Europe and Japan and the US, I kept the US version. Alright, so I believe this goes here, because the SD part goes this way. So the triangle goes up top. Oh, I'm not sure. There. I think I got it. I think. Because I know it needs to screw in. So where exactly? Okay, so it goes here. I think I gotta take the fucking oxygen fan out. Oh, great. I think it's supposed to go in over here. That would make the fans in the way. Great. Perfect. Just want to get the fucking thing into. That's why this doesn't work for the faint of heart. You would think especially since Laser Bear sells these fucking things, you would assume that he would make a bracket that you can use the Noctua fan with without trouble. Come on. Seems like I got it. Because one part goes here, the other one goes in the screw hole right there. Alright, so 3. I guess you got to use his screws for the. I'll try that first. It looks a little baggy. course, with my big thumbs. Let's see if I can use this tweezer to open it up. Because I can't. My fingers are just too damn big. I think I was able to squish it open. Oh, come on. Just gonna rip the bag. It's not gonna. Damn, it even sealed itself. See this shit? It's like it's sealing itself. Never seen a bag do that before. Holy shit. Alright. Here's 30 screws. It looks like they fit. At least I don't have to take the bracket out again. Thank God. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to put the fan back in. Modernizing this thing's a lot of work. A lot of work. Put that to this side here. Alright. It's time for the main event, which is the mode. Oh boy. Complete with anti-static bag. I'm laying in the kitchen because this is like the only place in the house other than the bathroom that has a non-carpeted floor. Alright. And for the hard drive, I'm going to be using this Crucial board. Make sure I got the thing lined up, and I do. This switch you don't need because that's for the Saturn. Like, the only thing you need to do for the Dreamcast is drag and drop. Like, that's all you need to do. Because this is for the 21 pin for the Saturn. This is for the 20 pin for the Saturn. These are for Saturn power, I believe. I think there's something usually put, I'm not sure, but anyway. So this all right here, the installer is going to take care of, because these are wires that you could take from the DCDigital and put here, and you'll be able to control the mode, like for in-game reset, disk changes, etc. And we're putting in a 1 terabyte SSD. Now when I chomped down the library and did it the way I did it, it came out to 880 gigs. And then putting the Atomic Wave games, the redump supplement, 1 terabyte just barely made the cut, because it's like 930 gigs, I want to say, of space. And I think this came out to like 920. Not a name brand that I've heard of. It's Crucial. I got this because Best Buy had a 1 terabyte on sale for $50, and there's a lot of people that swear by this. And even looking in the manual earlier for the mode, they use a Crucial hard drive too. So, and it's been formatted to exFAT. It's got all the games on there. So we're just gonna slide that bad boy in like that. And I know the mode's going to shake a little bit, but that's fine because we're going to fix that right now. I'm going to put the is it the other way? It's got to be this way. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. Because why would an SD card go upside? Yeah, so it's got to be this way. Okay, it seems to be in right now. All right. So we're gonna be careful because, you know, the line is a little bent. Because I guess that's how they made the SD. I'm gonna use the smaller screw as sort of an anchor point. And when you can't screw it in anymore, then more than likely you got it in. It's 2. Because believe me, this gets really secure when you actually put it in, which is why it's moving around a little bit. Because it holds it down. Like really holds it down. And then the last one. And plus the SD card's also good to have for firmware updates. You know, this thing is pretty much final. The only thing I could think they would do is if there's a Mem Card Pro for the Dreamcast coming out, or that VM2 that somebody's working on, that the mode would be able to send game IDs out. It does it already for the PlayStation, so they would just have to fix, I think, for the Dreamcast. I'll try to... shit. I'm trying to make this a little neater if I can. I don't want to scratch anything on the... Any resistors are not on the mode board. Just want it out of the way. Don't worry about that when I put the system back together. Anyway, next up would be the power. Power, because I didn't need those 3 screws for the disk drive because he gave me his own. One second, I gotta... Towel is moving. Alright, power cord. First, I gotta... Oh boy. might have to cut part of this off. Hold on a second. So I can fit that. All right, let's try it again. All right, it's in. Yeah, because if it, for this plastic thing, this part of this SD would have hit that. So I didn't want that to happen. So now you can move it free and clear. So now we're gonna put the power back in. Right, and the other one. And of course it falls. Because why not? It's almost always when you're near the end, that's when you get the most problems. Just doing little tugs. Because now you don't want to break your system, but you don't want to break your hand, like mess up your muscles in your hand as well. Especially someone like me. There's very little strength in their hands as of recent to begin with. Alright, there's the power. We're almost done for the main system anyway. Now the power supply. And oh boy, this is going to be a tight fit. Oh Jesus. Especially with that, it's one of those 6-pin. Oh, fuck me. Looks like the SD's gonna come out again. I don't know why they don't make this shit shorter. This adapter. I really don't. Come on. I don't want to go in there. That's one thing that sucks with the mode. The SD in here is always a tight fit. So I'm going to have to take this off. I'm going to keep it unplugged from the power for right now. Now I get why people just say fuck and just get the Pico. This is fucking ridiculous. It's like if you think you'd sell something, right? It's like make sure it works with everything. Because clearly this doesn't. So now I have to pop the mode out again. I'm gonna put the SD card in for it. Okay. Shit. I'm gonna do it like this now. How close to the power supply that fucking thing is. Holy shit. Come on. Fucking asshole. There we go. So learn from my mistake. Or rather, Laser Bear needs to fix his fucking adapter. Use a smaller, like try to bevel it somehow where it's not hitting the Dreamcast power supply. He makes great products, just I don't think he tests. He just tested maybe one or two systems. Go, it's okay. Only with certain configurations. You know, if 1UP is watching this video, maybe they will, maybe they won't, who knows. But if y'all watching this video, you got your work cut out for you, I'm telling you. When putting this fucking thing back in. I had to send some things along in addition to paying them, you know, the fee, like, kind of like how they do for that one YouTuber, what's his name? Adrian? That does Adrian's Digital Basement. Like, people send him snacks and shit. I need to try to do that for 1UP. Okay, so hopefully everything's back in. And of course the table and the towels all messed up, so I'll try to tuck the wire under here. Hopefully that works. So the main board's pretty much done. And gotta plug the power supply back in. Come on. There we go. So that's taken care of. Brother. So I think what I'm going to do now is test this thing before I put the top lid on. And we're, oh, it took about 80 minutes so far to put it together. Hopefully I have enough space on my phone. Because I have a 1 terabyte, not 1 terabyte, a 512 iPhone. So I got the TV remote for the kitchen TV. I'm going to put it to AV. I'm going to plug this in. Ah, shit. Oh. Alright, come on. It's a little thick. It's one of those combo cables that has like S-video and shit on it. And instead of using a regular Dreamcast controller, I'm going to be using one of these. The Striker DC. I've heard good things about these, so I'm hoping this doesn't disappoint. And I got stickers that are bent being in the fucking box. Oh boy. Hope the rest of the controller is better than that. Okay. Boxes everywhere. Little manual thingy. Oh, a keychain. I did not expect that. I just expected the controller and that was it. Alright, so already I like the feel of it. So that's already a good sign. Because as much time as I put into the original Dreamcast controllers, they haven't aged well. I'm gonna put controller 1, my 4X Mega memory card. When I sold the last Dreamcast, I kept this. I got rid of everything else. All right, so moment of truth. Don't blow up. Remote, everything's working. Not getting an AV signal though. But everything's powered on. I wonder if it's because of the cord. Because the system's working, the mode light's on, the controller's on. Try it one more time. Oh, and now the cord kicked in. All right. And then it blinks out. So it's gotta be this cord. Let me see if I can find another Dreamcast cord. I think I have an original one somewhere. And I most certainly do. Ta-da! The only thing I could think of is that this bootleg cord isn't reaching the pins fully. That's the only thing I could think of right now why it's not. Because it booted, you heard it. Dropped. Alright. Take the bootleg out. Put a legit one in. Now let's try it. Still not getting a signal. Brother. Because I was working on this TV the other day. So I don't know what the hell happened, because nothing changed as far as video wise. Sometimes these HD TVs can be a pain in the ass. Whatever. I'm gonna try using RF, seeing if I have a similar issue there. This does have a cable nut. I don't know what the hell could be wrong with the video. Nothing changed with the video from here, from when I installed this. Huh. I don't have a signal even with the RF. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Because there's the boot screen. And then it immediately goes to black. Huh. This got me stumped. I don't know what the hell's going on.